If you told me that a drifter murdered Mickey Rourke and took his place, I would find that more believable than the actual true story of his
Mickey Rourke
near demise.
Went from being the Mickey Rourke of the 80s to the Mickey Rourke of current times.
It's insane. Well, you know what happened was that he used to box and he got hit in the face and he got his orbital lobe broken, that part of your skull that holds your eyeball in place. So after that, he had an eye that was fishing around, and that was what prompted all these surgeries that he had.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It just got a little out of control.
Yeah, it came from getting beat the hell up. But
okay.
Yeah, there were stories of how like Tom Cruise and people like that would come by the set and they would just watch Mickey Rourke act because they were all kind of in awe of him. That generation of actors.
He's very good.
Yeah.
He's got some sort of mystic mojo going on, and you really see it in Diner. Or at least I really see it in Diner.
Yeah, I agree.
Again, I've loved this film from the first time I saw it, sitting in the theaters. When the end credits are rolling, and you hear the characters in the diner having a conversation led by Paul Reiser, and again, it's a conversation about nothing and everything all at the same time. And under it is the music of Jack Scott singing Goodbye Baby.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a mind-blowing... I think that might be the moment that introduced me to the music of Jack Scott.
Yeah,
so, again, I owe it to Diner introducing me to Jack Scott.
Yeah. Yeah, something interesting, too, about that scene and about Paul Reiser's role in the movie completely.
Right.
I'm sure that you've noticed that on the DVD... or the VHS, Paul Reiser, the cover is sort of the guys at the end of the movie surrounding the table.
Right.
And there's no Paul Reiser there if you look at the old movie poster.
Right, Paul exactly. It's Daniel Stern, Mickey Rourke, Kevin Bacon, Tim Daly, and Steve Guttenberg. Those are the five guys that are posted.
Yeah, but then on the DVD and on the VHS, Paul Reiser is sort of photoshopped in there. Like they put him in there, but he wasn't originally. Originally, he didn't really rate as a main character, and they sort of changed that later. You know, like almost like a no prize.
Right.
And I remember seeing that and thinking, like, why is he? But then the next time that I saw the movie, I noticed that Paul Reiser's character doesn't really have an arc. Like, he's almost like an ascended extra, as they say. Like, he was so good at what he was doing, and he's so good in that movie that it feels like... Because most of that stuff at the end, I found out later, was ad-libbed. He was just doing... He was just...
I can believe that.
Yeah, because he's a funny guy. You know, he's a comedian.
There's a piece of dialogue that Paul Reiser has in the course of the film where he's riding along in a car with Mickey Rourke, and just out of nowhere, Paul Reiser says... You know what word I'm not comfortable with? Nuance.
Yeah.
It's not a real word.
Yeah.
Well, fast forward ahead to when he was doing Mad About You, which was done by his own production company, which was called Nuance Productions.
Yeah. Come on.
The Diner just continues to... It's a starting point for a lot of people, and when my friend Richard got married many years ago, I was best man at the wedding, and at the wedding reception, I got up and I gave a speech, which was the speech that Paul Reiser gives at the end of Diner at the wedding reception.
Yeah.
That's how much of a psychopath I am. I'll take it one step farther. There is a scene in the movie where Kevin Bacon, drunk out of his mind, is basically sitting in the manger scene outside of a church.
Yeah.
There is a church not all too far from where I live here in the Chicagoland area that has the exact same manger figures as appear in the movie Diner. And every year they set that thing up, and I go over and I make my wife take pictures of me standing in that manger scene. Because I can't believe I'm standing in front of the same plastic figures that were used, not the same figures, but the same kind of figures.
Yeah, same company made them, bro.
That are used in Diner.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic. Pretty fantastic. Which character do you think you relate to the most?
I am gonna say, boy, that's a tough call. I've never really looked at it that way. I realize, of course, that Tim Daly's character is the stand-in for Barry Levinson himself.
All right, yeah.
Even though Barry Levinson is very circumspect about that. Like, oh, there's a little bit of me in all the characters.
Right,
no, you're Tim Daly's character of Billy.
Yeah.
I would say out of all the characters, I'm probably Daniel Stern's character, Shrevey.
Yeah, I would say so.
He's the married guy. He's the record collector, although he's a completely mental record collector.
All right, yeah. Which a lot of them are, sure.
Which brings me to Ellen Barkin has one of my favorite lines in the film, and you don't even see her say it. You see her hand in close-up. Daniel Stern and Ellen Barkin are married, and there's a point where Daniel Stern wants to have a conversation with his wife. Well, she's out in the kitchen, and he says, Beth, can you come here? And Beth says, Ellen Barkin says from the other room, I'm doing a crossword puzzle.
Yeah.
At which point there is a close-up shot. She's actually painting her nails.
Yeah.
Why in God's name does she lie about what she's doing in the kitchen?
Yeah. Well, she doesn't want him to know that she goes in any trouble.
Maybe that's what it could be.
Right?
Maybe
that's how I always took that. It's like that period thing of like, a lot of times women were told, don't ever let them see you shave your legs, or
that could be.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Like that's sort of how I took it, And along that line, a lot has been made of how the movie supposedly has these sort of misogynistic tones. And to me, it's always been more about the fact that these guys are scared of women in a lot of ways.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's more fear-based than anything. All of their kind of bravado.
Absolutely.
When it comes down to
I believe one of the characters says, women are so mysterious, and it doesn't get better over the years.
Right, yeah. What fucking Chisholm Trail? Do you get the feeling they're all in on something that we don't know about? And I think my favorite line in the movie is when Tim Daly, who's really just going through the ringer with the relationship that he has with a woman, is talking to Steve Guttenberg, and they've had a long night out, and he just says, women are pain.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they just get more pain. It just gets more painful.
Yeah. I don't think that there's any truer line in any movie that I've ever seen in my life, and it always resonates with me. And there's just so much truth in that movie. It's I don't think they really make movies like that anymore. It's if it's gonna have that level of emotional truth, it has to be about something. Everybody talks about how Seinfeld was a show about nothing, but like Diner really is. I mean, it's just
absolutely.
The original center point piece for the movie was going to be that they all go to the game, and it was going to cost too much money to shoot that, so they took it out, and the movie ended up not even being about the climax of the movie.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, it's a movie without a real climax.
Instead, just have the Baltimore Colts marching theme being played by the church organ at Eddie's wedding.
Right. Yeah.
Now, my friend Jennifer, some years ago, completely hit me with a curve in regards to Diner. She said, "You like Diner? That's a very Jewish film."
Oh yeah.
And I had to stop and think about it, and I realized that most of the characters in the film are Jewish.
Yeah. That's why nobody gives a shit about Christmas.
Well, that could be.
Yeah.
There is a Jewish wedding underneath the chuppah at the end of the film. The whole bit, but it never crosses my mind that, these are Jewish characters. Well,
yeah. Well, I mean, I think so much of, I think when you're into entertainment, I was having this conversation with my friend Joe a while back. When you're into entertainment, especially mid-century entertainers, all that Jewish stuff, we're almost kind of like partially Jewish just by proxy somehow. Because there's so much.
It's like there is a documentary that's out right now that points out the fact that all of the great Christmas songs were written by Jewish songwriters.
Yeah. How about it? Go figure.
But that's also because I think at the point in time that all of the Christmas songs were being written, I think about 90% of the songs in America were being written, in the 20s and 30s. 90% of the songs in America were being written by Jewish men and women.
Yeah, New York, Tim Panelli.
They were the ones that figured out, hey, we got to get in the songwriting business and make a name for ourselves, and it all worked out.
Indeed.
Well, I have to say I'm extremely grateful for the fact that when I introduced you to the film, you took to it.
Yeah,
Because there's always that chance. I remember being on an airplane, a long airplane ride with my bandmates. I played in a band called the Gin Palace Jesters years ago. We went to Europe, and on the flight back, one of the films that they showed was the Peter O'Toole film from the 1980s, My Favorite Year, which directed by Richard Benjamin. Again, one of my favorite movies. And I said, "Oh, guys, this is one of my favorite films. I hope you enjoy it." And at the end of the film, their basic response was, "Meh."
Well, it worked.
Broke my heart.
It worked. Well, that one worked. We're almost out of time. Unfortunately, we got to wrap it up. This thing's going to cut off in about 3 minutes. You got any last words about Diner that you'd like to share?
Well, to borrow the words of one of the actors in the DVD, you sit down, you watch it. Worst comes to worst, you've lost 2 hours of your life, and maybe you'll enjoy it. It is my favorite film of all time. So it has served as a guidepost for me throughout the bulk of my adult life, and it's got cool cars and great clothes. It really does. It really does. Rocco, it's been a pleasure being with you.
Same to you, Ken. Happy New Year. Fantastic stuff here.
Asta.
All right, thank you.